Hello everybody and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael and today I am back in the park that I did the third spotlight on this channel, and it is called Wildhorn Park and it's by DeepPHS, and I'm revisiting this park because I had a couple followers and also the creator of this park mentioned that they would love for me to go back and do another spotlight on it. And because this was my third park I was spotlighting, and I'll be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing most of the time, just kind of getting started doing that. And so recently I went back and rewatched that video of my spotlight, and needless to say, um, yeah, that was. I don't know how people got through watching that. It was only 9 minutes long, so I'm like, oh my gosh, all right. So yeah, I definitely missed a fair amount of things in this park, a lot of little details, but hopefully I've gotten better since then with looking at parks. And as you can see, just absolutely beautiful. And also, since I was on the PS4 still and having to use a capture card, and with the computer, I could only capture it in 720p. But now we can get it in 4K. So this park looks absolutely stunning. And I believe this creator is German, but this is just really, really well done. And I believe this coaster here on the left, to me, kind of looks like it's got some Terran vibes, got some Velocicoaster type vibes in terms of the track, the actual track that's used. So I'm really excited to kind of look through this again and try to maybe pick up on more details. So if we go here to the entrance of the park, which I love these little custom lights here. I mean, that is just really well done, and it's something that's pretty basic too. And that's one of the cool things too about this game is when you look at a lot of creations that sometimes people make, it's not doing anything that's overly complicated, but it's just using the basic pieces within the game. And so that is a really kind of cool touch. And so definitely has like a castle vibe as we enter, and love the kind of music that kind of follows you all the way around the park. I definitely need to, I really haven't worked with speakers at all yet, so I definitely need to practice with that. But right away, you get this beautiful view of the coaster kind of leaving the station, and this is fantastic. You know, I kind of get the vibe that we're gonna need to walk around some of this in flip cam mode. That's kind of how I'm feeling for a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. So what usually happens is I end up saying I'm going to do flip cam mode a lot, and it ends up being just a little bit of the time. So right away, as we can see, just the detail on all these buildings is just absolutely incredible. And so I actually want to save this coaster in this area for last, because if I'm remembering correctly, this is just by far my favorite coaster. And that's not to say the other coasters weren't fantastic, because they are. But just, I mean, just the detail here and the beauty of this is just amazing. So let's go ahead and head this way. And I love the look right there. Looking in the distance, seeing the dive coaster there. And then you also see the Gerstlauer coaster. So that is just an absolutely beautiful view if you're a guest from this point. As you can see the other two main attractions there in the distance. But right away, I mean, the detail here, because this park was created before we got the, oh, what pack was it? I want to say it was either the World's Fair pack that came with the, was it the Bulgarian style wall pieces, I believe. So this was created before then. So really well done. And I mean, just look at the views. This is really, really incredible. And hopefully this coaster will come by soon so we can get a good view of it roaring by. Oh man, I got excited for a second, thinking that hearing that sound was the coaster. But yeah, so oh, there's the second launch. There we go. I mean, and even just all the kind of these little houses in the background, and it just adds to the sightlines of the park. I mean, this is just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I forgot what coaster type this is. Is this the the launch torque. I guess we'll see in a little bit. But wow, this is yeah, really, really well done. So that's the coaster I want to save for last. We'll kind of walk to the back of the park, and then we'll kind of come back and ride the coasters. So I want to make sure we look at this in detail. And you know what? I'm breaking the rule that I said I was just going to do, and we're going to get out of flip cam mode, and the only reason is for the sake of being able to raise and lower, because I feel like there's a lot of things I'm going to want to look at here. It's like, first of all, look at this bridge. It's nothing too crazy, but it works perfectly, as we don't see any of the, you don't see any curbing. Well, I guess you do maybe a little bit there, but you wouldn't even notice if I did point that out. And just really well done. Love the stone, love the color. Really, really well done. It's like a little bit of a transition going to another area of the park. So here comes the Infinity Coaster. The double corkscrew. That's a really cool look. And then we have this nice little covering for this, whatever this is. Let's see what this is. Wildhorn Crystal. Crystal? Guys, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. So I apologize. I'm sure I said that wrong, and I apologize. Oh, this must be going to the Gerflower coaster. Okay. I was about to say, are we going to walk right through this? But that's like perfect height. That's really cool. And so there's a ton of path interaction here, which is just awesome to see. Because that's one of the things I love when creating a coaster, is trying to create a coaster in a way that it interacts with the path, so you can get a lot of really good views. And I mean, just look at the views you can get here waiting in line. This is phenomenal. And now I'd love to know, because when I went back and looked, I couldn't necessarily tell anything different. So, because I know you updated stuff recently, so I'd love to know, you know, what specifically did you update? Because, guys, I want you to recognize, too, that this was made months ago. So this was made before all the DLCs came out. And just the attention to detail and the use of the pieces is just really incredible. Like, look here at this building. You've got the, what are these pieces? So you got the stone trim there. You've got these arch pieces. You've got the, I guess this is just going to be type of walls. That, yeah, it's just stucco wall. And then you've just got these wooden pillars going around, kind of adding that extra detail, not to mention this stone underneath here, and placing the wooden pieces right here. Now, one thing you can do to try to alleviate this, because to me this just always bothers me, and you know what, I'll show you that once we get done with the coaster, because I don't want to shut the coaster down right now. So I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. But let's go ahead and ride the coaster. So it's all green. You see G-forces look good. Inversions 3, airtime count 2. So what was this called? Well, I guess we'll see in a second. All right, yeah, so that was a pretty good coaster. And so it's called Wildhorn, oh, Crystal, or Crystal. I'm totally botching that. So one thing I want to show real quick, and I'm sure you know how to do this, but this is really just for anybody watching who sees this and is like, well, how can I kind of get rid of that or alleviate some of that? So what you can do is, technically, it's just clipping, because it's like fighting for, I forget the exact terminology for it. Oops, wrong one. So what you can do is you can just slightly raise it or lower it. And so now you can kind of see where it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn, actually that might be pretty darn close to being perfect. And then you can see now that it doesn't, the other one does, but we didn't do that one. This one doesn't have that kind of awkward clipping now that this one does here. So it's just a matter of kind of working with it a little bit and kind of trying to raise it just slightly above or slightly below. And Iron Maddie was kind of one of the ones that kind of taught me that. So I appreciate that, Maddie. And I mean, just the detail here. Like, look at this right here. Using these wooden posts. Let's see. Sorry, the camera was not working well for a second. So using the wooden pillar to kind of create this nice kind of boundary and railing. I mean, just custom railing here is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, the only thing I'd suggest here, possibly, and I know having that rounded look is really cool, but if you wanted to kind of have it to where it didn't have the path, like that curbing there, because it's really kind of impossible at this angle to not have any of that, is just creating a grid and doing one piece this way, one piece this way, and then having it go down the stairs, because then it would create that nice 90-degree turn to where you can place the wall pieces to where, you know, it matches it perfectly. You know, kind of same thing over here if you were interested in doing that. But yeah, let's talk about the coaster for a second. So I thought the layout was pretty cool. I feel like with these type of coasters in real life, you don't see too many corkscrews. I could be totally wrong with that because I've only ridden one of them in real life, and I've seen POVs of a fair amount, but not a ton. I would say this is the one area right here that I feel like it was just too quick through that transition. And I think because there's not enough space in between the ending of the corkscrew and then the entry to the other corkscrew. So I think this needs to be spaced out just a little bit more. And, you know, just maybe adding another straight track piece in between. But now it could have been that you did that to kind of, you know, what's the term I'm thinking of? Just for the sake of you know, making it fit within the space. But I do like too how you kind of have these dual layers here, and I've got something similar to this with my park that I just got done with, where it's kind of, as the coaster's kind of coming around multiple times, you kind of have the different layers of it, and so I think that's kind of a cool look. This was, to me, was my favorite element on the coaster. It was really smooth. You would have gotten some hang time, so that's really cool. And I think on here too, um, I think you just need to smooth this out a little bit more because it kind of has, it dips down and then it awkwardly kind of comes right back up. And so I think that, you know, just smoothing it out a little bit, which will kind of alleviate maybe a little bit of the hill, but it'll make it kind of a little more smooth in that sense. And maybe just banking the turns just a tad bit more. But like I said, I mean, really good coaster, a lot of fun. So now let's move on to the next area. Next part, and once again, I mean, look at this building. So it's the same building style, but now you've just changed the color of the stucco that you're using, and it just creates, in my opinion at least, enough difference that it just really adds to the park. And then look at the floral arrangements going around. You know, you took like 3 or 4 different types of plants or bushes and you repeated them, but you did it in a way that didn't seem overly repetitive and unrealistic. Yeah, so I wonder if you're working on a new park now, because I would love to see with the detail that you use doing like some of the more realism stuff too, like a transfer track or something like that, because I could just imagine how amazing of a job you would do with that. Love this little stall here. And you know, just having the detail of these wooden posts, it just adds to the building, and putting the, I forget what these things are called, but I need to use those more. Just adds to the detail of the building. Oh, I love this. This chair swings are awesome. Because I love the use of the wall as a fence with the what you would call that, with the fencing on top, and then you've got the man, I can't speak right now. Then you got the hedges. I think that is just such a cool look. She would definitely approve of this, as she is the flat ride flower scenery queen. What's in there? Is that the water ride? Where's the entrance for that? Okay, I guess it's over here. So this is going to be, and I like to hear how you covered up the ugly, whatever those are called, where the entrance to the coaster is with this custom little roof area. Looks phenomenal. And also one thing I forgot to mention on the last ride too is how you just kind of decorated some of the queue line. Looks really nice. And same thing here. You know, it's not adding a ton, but it's adding enough detail that makes it look unique. Once again, really nice covering here for the guests as they're waiting in line. And, you know, you've added the little hook so that you can add the hanging light. That is a fantastic touch that I will need to use. Oh, I love this archway. Oh, that looks so cool. So if anybody's wondering, that is just used using 1 meter. Oh, those are, yeah, 1 meter pillars. And so if you can see, it can't fit perfectly because of the size of it, but it looks so good. Really, really well done. And look at this station. Whew, this is detailed and this is awesome. All right, let's go ahead and take a ride on this dive coaster. That was awesome. Absolutely love that. And one thing I didn't notice as we're walking up is just the incredible look of the outside of this building. I mean, it's got that very cool church kind of style to it. And just look at all the different building pieces that are used. That you've got columns here. Okay, so we got the rough brick columns. We've got oh no, that's a chimney. Okay, yeah, I forgot they don't have rough brick columns. That's a chimney. We then have whatever this side piece is right there. You then have the I don't know why sometimes it just clicks on the coaster. But then you've got, so I mean, there's just all this extra detail. You've got the wood right there. I mean, this is just absolutely incredible. And then in terms of the coaster, love the first drop, and I love how you went down through this tunnel, and you had this area kind of covered, and you put just enough kind of flowers and or weeds and rocks there, and then you come out into the Immelman, and then you come down again, and you come out the other side here into, I don't know if this would be like a sidewinder or what that technically is called, and then I don't know what this kind of loop is called. But really well done, super smooth. Went through the elements at a realistic speed, in my opinion. Now, this is one that I don't know if you'd actually have on a dive coaster, or at least I haven't seen one, but it went perfectly through that in terms of not too fast, went at a good speed. Same thing with this inversion here. And then, well, it counts this one as an inversion, but to me, it's not really an inversion because you're not like technically 180 degrees upside down, but I could be wrong about that. So, I guess maybe depending on where you're at, just adding this little building up here, it's just adds that extra touch to the ride, and then having the rocks up here, and you got the waterfall, you got the trees. Really, really well done. So if we go out the exit, Nice use of a planter there. Yeah, and I like kind of throughout using. Oh, this area is cool. Okay, so I noticed this when I went back and watched through it. And if anybody's wanting to know, I believe, now I could be wrong, but I feel like you would have gotten this idea from Silverette. Because Silverette did a tutorial where he showed you how you can create these paths essentially that, and I'm gonna place everything back, but I want to delete this just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, this is none of this actually connects, right? And the point is you run it side by side and have just a couple areas where it connects for guests to pass through, but then that allows you to create some kind of cool border for it, but it gives it that really cool look of having, you know, these two totally separate kind of components of the area, and they're each separated by different pathing styles. So I think that's a really cool touch in my opinion. All right, so I think we just have that one last coaster to go over and that water ride. But let's go ahead and look back here. Yeah, this is one thing I mentioned in the first one is how much I like this Wildhorn Garden area. I think that's Garteen. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I just pronounced garden thinking, hey, English, but yeah, so really, really cool looking though. And I love how you can see the tunnel. You can sit here and eat your lunch and watch that coaster. Really cool, really well done. I think I've said that like 50 times already, but nothing else you can say. All right, so let's kind of make our way back. And once again, just all the little detail, adding all these extra rocks and foliage, just it's that extra touch. Okay, here's the water ride. So we're gonna go at ×2 speed on this, just for the sake of time. I mean, this kind of gives me like Pirates of the Caribbean vibe with the um, with how the queue is. It's just really cool. And I know everybody builds different, but it's always interested me building these underground stuff. Like, how do you approach it? When do you put the roof on, and so forth. And that looks really cool. And that was a really cool kind of way to kind of wait in line for this water ride. So it's called Hornfluss. Let's see. All right, so let's not go front bumper. Look forward. There we go. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, perfect timing. So remember, we're going ×2 speed just because these water rides tend to go really slow in the game. All right, there we go. So, really cool water ride. Love the interaction with the dive coaster here. So as you're coming up, you can kind of see the coaster. So I think that's a really, really cool touch. And then obviously it kind of weaves around some areas up here, and you've got this this kind of little cabin that it kind of goes through. So yeah, really enjoyed that. You know, it's not crazy themed, like it's really just themed with nature, but it works really well. So now let's go back to here. So there's the bathrooms. And then now, if we head back to the front of the park, which I believe I've covered, let me make sure. I just want to make sure I've covered everything in the back of the park. Yeah. And so I wonder with this build, did you get inspiration from Silverette's Jaegerhorn series at all, or anything like that? Because I mean, I know it's a different style coaster, but just from the buildings and wow, I can't speak, and some stuff, I definitely get those vibes. But yeah, I mean, this is just spectacular. So there's the exit to the coaster. I didn't realize I was still at ×2 speed. I was like, man, these people look to be walking fast. But yeah, I mean, just beautiful views. And so really, really excited to check out this coaster again. So let's get to the entrance. So we briefly saw this area earlier. So there's a toilet. Man, this ride is popular. But good thing we got a flash pass and we can skip the line. This is a cool touch, just having this kind of on the queue. I don't know what it's really supposed to represent, but anyway, it looks cool. All right, love this. Once again, you got another inside queue. It's nice and detailed. Really impressive. All right, so now that we are here, oh, there we go. So now that we are here, let's go ahead and, oh, okay. These are different coaster cards than I was thinking. Let's see. Okay, no, never mind. This is the launch torque. So I was correct in my original assessment. So if you look at the stats, hold on, let's look at the results. G-forces look good. It's got 2 inversions. Well, that's not the coaster I meant to get in. There we go. I think the only words I have to say for that is just wow. Just incredible. Couple areas the coaster needed smoothing, but just super long. I mean, look at the detail of this building that's not even being used for anything other than the launch. Like, that is some serious dedication. And I just don't know how some of you guys, like, envision these styles. And I know you look at pictures, like, that's what I've been trying to do when I'm building something, but it's still just so impressive to me. And so we come out the launch, which is the really detailed building is just awesome. All right, so this looks, I mean, this is just fantastic. Um, so as we kind of do an overview of the park, what was this called? Okay, it's just called the launch torque. So, yeah, like I said, it kind of gives me Terran slash Velocicoaster vibes, and there's really just Velocicoaster because of the how the track looks with that coloring. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And one thing too that I meant to say at the beginning, because this is the first video that I'm filmed since Jasmine and I reached 500 subscribers for the channel. So we really appreciate all the support and um, just the constant feedback that we receive from all of you guys, and we really appreciate it so much as it means a lot. And so I hope that this channel continues to grow, just like this community is. This is such a great community within this game, and just allows people from all over the world to kind of, just be in contact with people. And a year ago, Jasmine and I were never in contact with people from the UK or Germany, and so it's really, really cool what this game has done in terms of kind of bringing a whole world together in a sense. And another thing too is with the what's it called, the community channel. I'll be posting some stuff on there sometimes, kind of letting people know when videos will be released, and maybe updates on Let's Play series and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this park. I definitely spent more time trying to check everything out this time. And before we go, what I wanted to look at specifically, which this was actually a triple launch, which was cool. But just a lot of rocks being placed, a lot of terrain changes. But I think the second launch is really cool too. Creating this tunnel was really cool. It looks awesome. And then placing that chimney sweep kind of at a sideways pace. So this is really, really amazing. So make sure to go download on the workshop. As I said, there is an updated version, so I don't really fully know what's in the updated version. But as you can see, this is at 57%, so it's still got room to grow on the PS4. It's got about 18-ish percent maybe, if I'm thinking correctly. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and like I said, love to hear your feedback, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.